So what's really going on out on the world's oceans as we head into 2026? Well, it's this incredible mix, almost a battleground, of competing forces. We're talking everything from celebrating ancient maritime history to navigating brand new threats and regulations. We're going to dive into all those dynamic currents shaping the maritime world right now. All right, so here's how we're going to break this all down. We'll kick off with the big picture, the ocean's crossroads. Then we'll see how the past is literally powering the future. After that, we'll get into the tough stuff, the new dangers out on the high seas. From there, we'll look at the business of it all before we wrap up by charting a course for the year ahead. You know, the ocean has always been this massive stage for human drama. But today, it feels like history, modern conflict, and global commerce are all colliding on it like never before. It's a world with, immense opportunity, but also some really significant and definitely growing risks. And this quote it nails it, doesn't it? It perfectly captures this tension we're seeing, this constant push and pull between looking back at our heritage and pushing forward with innovation, between trying to stay secure and aiming for sustainability. This dynamic really sets the stage for everything we're about to cover. Okay, so let's start with something really positive. Let's look at a story that shows how celebrating maritime history can create some very real and very exciting opportunities for the future. So for this, we're heading over to East Yorkshire in the UK to a city called Hull. Hull is basically turning its historical identity, its maritime DNA, into this powerful engine for its future growth and, as it turns out, global recognition. And that recognition is huge. I mean, get this. National Geographic has named Hull one of its top 25 global destinations for 2026. That puts it on the world stage right alongside some truly iconic locations. And look, this didn't just happen by accident. It's the result of a massive, super focused effort to bring its rich nautical history back to life. We're talking about restoring historic ships like the Arctic Corsair, completely overhauling its maritime museum, a really serious investment. So the big takeaway here? This shows that honoring the past isn't just about nostalgia. It's a genuinely powerful economic force that is actively shaping the industry in a really positive way this year. But, for all that positive energy, there's a flip side. This story of heritage stands in really sharp contrast to the new and, frankly, very complex dangers that are emerging on the water right now. And if you look at a few recent events, you can pretty much sort these modern threats into three distinct buckets. You've got your geopolitical risk, these new hybrid threats, and then the good old-fashioned operational hazards. So first, let's talk geopolitics. China's recent military drills, where they simulated a blockade of Taiwan, that's way more than just a political statement. It has a direct, real-world impact on shipping safety in some of the most critical sea lanes on the planet. It forces companies to completely rethink their routes and reassess their insurance costs. Next up, we have hybrid threats. Now, these are a bit murky, often hard to pin down attacks that go after the vital, unseen infrastructure our entire connected world relies on, like those undersea cables. And we just saw a perfect and pretty concerning example of this play out. Right before the new year, a cargo vessel, the Fitberg, was seized because it was suspected of damaging a critical communications cable in the Baltic Sea. I mean, that is a textbook example of this emerging threat. And finally, with all these new threats, it can be easy to forget the basics. But the ocean has a way of reminding us. The grounding of the cruise ship Coral Adventurer is a stark reminder that even with all our modern tech, the fundamental risks of navigation are still very, very real. Thankfully, no one was hurt, but it really highlights the challenges of operating in remote waters. Okay, so it's not just about security threats. On top of all that, the shipping industry is also trying to navigate this incredibly complex web of new regulations and powerful market forces that hit them right in the bottom line. For instance, as of January 1st, a whole new set of EU environmental regulations just kicked in. Policies like Fuel EU Maritime and the emissions trading system are directly driving up the cost of fuel and compliance. This forces carriers to totally rethink their pricing and their strategies, especially in really key regions like the Adriatic Sea. And hey, if new regulations weren't enough to juggle, you've got the classic rhythm of global trade. The industry is still dealing with the ripple effects of port delays from the holiday season, while at the same time they're trying to prep for the massive demand surge that comes with the Chinese New Year. It is a constant, high-stakes balancing act. All right, so we've got heritage, we've got new dangers, we've got regulations, market pressures. How in the world do all these different pieces fit together? What's the big picture for the maritime world in 2026?
Well, it brings us right back to our central theme, doesn't it? The maritime world is at a crossroads, a point where all of these distinct and incredibly powerful forces are meeting head on.
Think about it. You've got the positive pull of heritage and tourism, like we saw in Hull, clashing directly with the rise of hybrid threats and geopolitical conflict. You have the relentless demands of global commerce running right up against new regulations and old-school operational risks. It's a world of truly competing currents. So the key takeaway here is that the future of this industry isn't going to be defined by just one single trend. It's going to be defined by the collision of these powerful, often opposing forces. And that leaves us with a critical question for 2026. As all these currents collide, which ones will ultimately shape the future of our oceans? And maybe more importantly, what will be the cost of navigating these turbulent waters?